Welcome to Dynamics Corner. This is Chris.
And this is Brad. This episode was recorded on March 30th, 2023. Chris.
Yes,
16
sir.
days until the Dynamics North America Partner Driven for Partners Conference. Everyone in North America, in the world, is excited to attend and learn more about Business Central, Power Platform, and everything else you're going to learn there.
How excited
And
are you,
with
man?
us, I'm super excited. I'm so excited that I can't show my excitement anymore. I'm tired from showing all my excitement. But with us today, we had the opportunity to follow up with Kate Pinyan to learn more about what partners and attendees should expect from the Microsoft group and the other partners at the Directions North America Conference.
It'll be a long week.
Well, it's nice. Sometimes the staycations are the best.
Yeah.
And
A lot of people.
Do you ever
Well, a lot of times
play tours?
you go on
You
vacation.
ever play tourist?
Oh, so we're going to talk.
Like when you're a staycation? No?
We are going to the Museum of Puppetry Arts with the kids on Friday.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
That's nice.
That'd be really nice. Staycations, I think, are the best. Sometimes you go on a vacation. You need a vacation from the vacation when you come back. A lot of people will go to Disney, for example.
Yeah.
And that's one of those vacations that as soon as you hit the ground, you're running.
Yeah.
And you're exhausted by the time your vacation's over. And then you come back and you go back to work or whatever you have to do. And you feel like you didn't have any rest.
I know. I just have to go stock up on snacks because that's the alternative of not going anywhere is they all want to eat all the food.
I heard there's an amazing aquarium out there in Georgia.
Yeah, we did. We went, I don't know, last year sometime with my daughter, and one of the exhibits is a river exhibit, and it had a crocodile was like swimming over you. And after she saw that, she was not very excited.
Oh, wow.
It was the like reverse looking one, so it was like white, a crocodile,
Yeah.
over this swimming over you in the aquarium. That did not go well.
Oh, my goodness.
I think exhibits like that make people not want to go swimming in the water. I have a friend that does not go into a lake or an ocean
Just in case.
because of the animals that they've seen in there. unless it's clear, because if you go into an unclear or murky water way, they won't go into it because
See it coming at you, but you probably still won't be able to do anything.
Yeah.
What and how people think, I'm not even going to try to analyze, but I agree with you.
Well,
It's so I can see the alligator coming to get me.
It's the movies, man.
you know.
Screwed up everybody by being anywhere.
Well, like Jaws, when
Yeah.
I don't know who thought it was a good idea when we were little. The adults wanted to watch Jaws at the pool, and they let the kids all sit in the pool on floats and watch Jaws. Like,
Wow, that would ruin you. Yeah, I heard that the aquarium out there was pretty nice. There's like a whale shark, stuff like that too.
Mhm.
So,
I really want to go swimming in it, but you have to be there. The one I want to do, you have to swim by yourself. I want to swim by myself, so you have to be scuba certified, and I haven't made it that far yet.
no way. So they actually offer you to you could
You can
pay
pay
to
to go
swim.
swim in the big aquarium with the whale shark.
That
Yeah.
is amazing.
That is amazing. That is amazing. I love snorkeling in the tropical waters. Snorkeling up here, forget it. You won't see anything besides, you won't even be able to see your hand in front of your face. The water is so dark. But down in the tropics, I absolutely love snorkeling. I've never been scuba diving. I've been snuba, where they have the big wire and the tank floats.
Yeah.
But every time I go somewhere tropical, you know how you can do the certification for scuba diving, so you can do it there. I always think of it the last day. So it's like, we don't have time, you have to go through the course, and then I'd be able to, scuba dive tomorrow. But I'd love to try that.
Yeah.
That's great. But I would rather not see the alligator coming after me. I'd rather just be eaten.
I think it's like a wreck. You just don't want to see it coming.
I don't want to see it come and just take me out.
Especially if
and
you
then I'll
can't
deal
do
with it
anything
later.
about it. You're just gonna.
No. So, okay, I guess we're ready. Since
We've
we've
been
been
ready.
ready. Because, I always start recording early because I don't want to miss any of the good content that we may or may not have. So, Kate, good morning.
All of the jokes that you're going to start telling.
I could tell some dad jokes.
You should be able to. You both should.
I can't think of any at the moment, though. I'm not that good with jokes. I have, what do you call a tuna fish?
No, what?
A tuna fish. How do you catch a tame rabbit? Oh, excuse me. How do you catch a unique rabbit? Unique up on it.
Oh, it's like
How
how
do you
do you
catch
spell a fish without I or whatever? Shh. You're gonna have to research some dad jokes before directions.
Well, I don't know. How do you see? That's good. I'll do that because that will be an icebreaker when I start, and I'll reference you. How do you catch a tame rabbit?
No, you don't have
The tame way.
to. Well, if it's tame, you
Get
don't
it
have
with
to
the unique
catch it,
rabbit.
right?
Okay, that's it. That's it. That's the extent of my
Dad
joke
jokes.
telling without using ChatGPT or Google.
That's what you should do. We we were joking yesterday because I'm working with Ryan Grant on my session about resilience in business, and we were talking about how it's going to be a very heavy session, and we're going to have to do something to lighten it up. But it's right before Expo, so that's nice. We'll be having some drinks in there. But and we have the book The Daring Greatly by Brene Brown,
Yeah.
and I have it here. And he just put it in chat. He's like, I just put it in chat GPT and I know everything about it. I don't even have to read. He's like, I needed this in college. And so I told him I was going to buy some books for our session. So I bought 2 books to give away at our session. And he's like, I said, or you could just tell them they could use your version and go to chat GPT and they could read.
Summarize it.
You could use
It's
my
amazing.
version of actually getting the book, or you could use Ryan's by using ChatGPT.
That is amazing. Because Chris GPT over here.
Oh, yeah.
That's the running joke that I tell everybody. Which is good. And I always say it sounds like I'm teasing him or saying it, but using a tool, like to me, it's a tool that yes, you have to validate everything that you get back from it, I think, but at least it may give you an idea or a baseline for content or information.
It was
without.
nice. I had a customer ask me about an email thing on Business Central, and I was like, I just couldn't remember it, so I put it in ChatGPT, and it gave me the link to find the documentation for him. So I could I looked at it, I was like, yep, that's what he needs, and I sent it to him.
That's
It's
amazing.
the world is
For 101.
the world is changing quickly, but the most important thing is to validate what comes back, and it's just I like it, but I found that sometimes the information that comes back can be a little off, but it is great for at least a baseline and a foundation or ideas for what something you may want to put together.
I did look to see if I found anything on me, and it didn't. So that's a good thing. It's like, what is it going to, like before you went out in the real world, they're like, Google your name and see what comes up and make sure that it's appropriate for work, whatever. So when that came out, I was like, let me see if it finds anything. So clearly I haven't made ChatGPT world, but that's a good thing.
Well, maybe they're limiting it because you have all that content out there, because I'm certain that you exist on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I go into LinkedIn or somewhere else and I see you plastered all over. So, in a positive way.
I was going to say.
No, I see you in a positive way, a lot of times more recent, which is what we're here to talk about this morning, with directions.
Yeah.
I see the pictures and the information that you're promoting for directions. Yeah. So thank you for talking with us again. We spoke with you a short time ago, but now we're getting closer and closer to the conference, which begins on April 15th. So if my math is correct, that's about 16 days away, depending upon the time 16. Zone.
Because it's a Sunday, but yes, it is.
Oh, the 15th is the Saturday. The 16th it starts. I'm thinking the 15th due to a travel day. So that's why I was thrown off. But yes, it's on the 16th. So I think it still puts me at 16 days.
There you go. Yeah, right? Less than 2 weeks, about 2 weeks.
So I wanted to follow up with you because now I see on the website the schedule is now posted of the speaker sessions, of what's going on, information about the expo. I didn't see anything about the celebration on there yet, but
That'll be coming soon. We probably will announce that in the first keynote. So
so we have to
stay
wait. You
tuned.
won't
Yep.
tell us
So
now.
stay tuned for that.
How about if you tell me now and
We'll
we
bleep
mute it
it.
out?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, so now that the conference has, been a little more defined. Last time when we spoke, everything was still planning. Obviously, there's a lot, that goes behind planning a conference and a session, and the sessions. Give us some more information about the conference. What's some of the updates that you have with us as far as the number of attendees, the types of sessions that partners will be able to attend when they visit?
Yeah.
And then I have a few other things I want to bring up because as we're recording this, the Microsoft, the live conference is also going
The launch
on.
event is
So
going on. Yeah.
the launch, yes. I call it live, but launch,
Yeah,
yes.
the Microsoft launch is going on right now. So I actually just got off a call with Microsoft right before this, and we are getting ready to. They've always had kind of a Microsoft support area or a lounge, and what they want to do this year is they are going to publish the agenda or Microsoft people that'll be there by topic, so that attendees that want to talk about a certain topic can look and see when that person will be available and just go and talk to them at that point. So that'll be fantastic for attendees that want to go meet Microsoft and have specific questions in mind. So stay tuned for that because that'll be out there on the website as soon as they have it available. But I know they're going to be promoting that during the event so that people can go stop by and say hi to the group when they're there.
That is great. I appreciate that it's more of an interpersonal, communication, or it's more personal communication. I've noticed, more so this year, again with the launch where you can do some of the live Q&A. But so now you're saying in Directions there will also be a similar event where there's a lounge with topics, and then the Microsoft employees that represent those areas will be available for Q&A and regular discussion about those topics.
Yeah, so it'll be a great time to have those informal conversations, or if you see a topic that they're presenting on and you have additional questions, you can schedule some time or go see them afterwards and go have more conversations on what's going on and the topics that they're bringing to the table, which will be fantastic.
Oh, that's excellent. I will definitely join some of those sessions because there's several individuals that I want to speak with. So the conference runs from the 16th to the 19th of April.
Yeah.
As we sit now in this recording, do you know how many sessions that we have? And can you tell us a little bit about the schedule of events that are going to occur?
I think most of the sessions, there's still probably about 5% that are still being finalized. After the launch event, there's typically some topics that come out of that we can't publish beforehand. So there are still some sessions that will be coming, but probably about 95% of the sessions are on the agenda already. Which is great. And people are starting to put their speakers and they're redefining the topics a little bit. So all of that is on the website under the agenda. And soon you will be able to, in about a week or so, we'll probably release the mobile app so you can start adding those to your calendar. Which would be great because I know a lot of people are starting to look at what sessions they're going to attend, when it's going to be. There may still be some changes, but that's just trade show nature that somebody doesn't make it or something happens. So. Or another topic comes up that we just want to add. So there are a ton of sessions out there by track, which is fantastic.
No, I understand, and I do appreciate there's a lot behind it because there's been conferences before where, travel arrangements or, people get ill. So there's some last minute adjustments that are necessary. So the website is directionsna.com, and then you can look at the agenda, which takes us over to Event Squid, where you can take a look at the tracks and filter.
And you can filter by day, by track. You can even just search there's search terms in there too. So it's not a perfect tool, but it definitely gets a lot of the information across, and it's user friendly, which is great. And it ties.
No, it is user friendly, but it will come down to that mobile app.
Yes.
Because the two most important things when you're at these events, it's that mobile app as well as
good
the internet connection within the venue. Because I've been to some venues, you may have a nice app, but if you're in there trying to look at and see updates, the internet is horrible.
Yeah.
A lot of the venues offer Wi-Fi, but you get a number of people in there. Sometimes it gets a little overloaded if they didn't plan. Do you know the number of attendees? Where are we with registration?
Yeah, we are still tracking for over 1,000. We are really close to that number. We usually get a couple hundred in the last week or so, but we are probably about 950 now with some codes and some stuff that people just haven't registered yet. So we'll be over 1,000 for sure
Wow.
this year.
That's
Wow,
amazing. That's
that's a
cool.
big jump from last year. Last year, again, I think we said was
It's like
nine.
nine, yeah, it was 900, a little over 900,
Yeah,
and
a
that
little
was
over
one of the
that.
bigger events as well. So it's growing,
I'm
right?
looking forward to the food.
Yeah, that's
You know,
great.
the expo hall is great. I appreciate everybody who presents, and there's a lot of great products presented in the expo hall, and it's great to talk with everybody there. But I also appreciate the food.
Same
Yeah.
place, so it's gonna be the
I
same
think it was
food.
Not
well,
the
I don't know if it'll be
same
the same.
food. It did get,
It'll be good food
it
at
will be
least.
good food.
Yeah.
So, are you presenting? I know you're doing the first time attendees
Yeah.
session at 10 a.m. on the first day, but do you have any other sessions that you're doing?
Yeah, so there's going to be the first time attendee for anybody who has never attended before. We just thought it would be helpful for people to, we could do it remote, but it's really nice for those people to be able to see each other and kind of have that informal like meetup. So we decided to keep it in person again this year. We'll do that before the event starts so everybody can kind of just meet and greet. We'll kind of talk about the uniqueness of this event versus what you would expect at other trade shows. So we'll do that on Sunday, and then we'll have the big kickoff keynote on shortly after that. And then I'm doing a session on resilience in business with Ryan Grant from SA Global. So we'll be doing that. Our session is scheduled, I think it's like 5:15 or right before the expo on Sunday. So we'll be doing that there. We'll be talking about some of the stuff from our personal life and what's been to kind of grow and change in this industry and hopefully kind of give back to some of those people who don't get to have those conversations with people in their own business or maybe just feel that they're not alone because there are so many things over the last even 3 years that have amplified this community working remotely, travel, switching jobs. There's just been moving, having kids, moving, there's all kinds of things that happened over this last 3 years. And I think it's very evident that your personal life and your business life somewhat collide. So there are some things that you can have conversations on and or just, how to get different positions and what areas do you want to focus on? Where do you want to be? That kind of stuff. So there's a ton that we get to talk about and we'll get to share some stuff from our personal lives of things that we've overcome or things that we've learned. So hopefully others don't have to go through the same thing we have.
No, it's good information to share. And if somebody's going through something, it is nice to speak with somebody or hear stories of somebody else to sometimes give you ideas of how to adjust or to navigate through some of the things that are occurring. And the first time event, I agree with you as far as having the in-person session. Virtual sessions are sometimes tough because you don't have that interpersonal communication, and you have it's just impersonal. Sometimes it's tough to pay attention, but if you can actually sit down, talk, and have that interaction and see people, I think even with virtual events, if you do like a live Q&A with cameras, I think it makes it a little more personal. But while you're there, it's great. And Microsoft's presenting. Do you know the percentage of what they're presenting? I know they have a big, entourage,
They do.
to use the word.
Yeah, they're going to have 3 different keynotes. So I'll just have to, they usually kick off on announcements the first day. I know there'll probably be a business central update. I think there'll be some other topics and hot key things that they're going to want to bring to the table. So they'll do that. And then obviously they'll have the breakout sessions afterwards to continue those conversations. So it'll be fantastic for people to see and then just continue learning afterwards. Those sessions. And then obviously there's a ton of sponsor led content, like what you guys are going to be doing and some other things. So, and like what I'm doing. So there's a lot of content. It is, and then also I know I'm also doing, working with a leadership panel for the women, a women in dynamics leadership panel that I'm going to be the host or moderator. And we'll have some great women up there that talk about, growing up and being a woman in this channel and being a leader because most of them are owners or executives in their company. So that'll be a great one. And I think that's Tuesday morning. And then I know Lanham, I'm presenting our ISV session shortly after that. And then we have the Women in Dynamics luncheon on Tuesday, which is a separate luncheon, there'll be the attendee lunch and then there'll also be this luncheon. Everybody's welcome to attend. It'll be just some great content from the Women in Dynamics group that is graciously agreed to come to the North America event and continue to build on that momentum.
No, it's great to have that message out there. With you covered a lot of topics there. I have to try to see. I'm usually the one that talks a lot and makes whomever we're speaking with remember, the questions that I ask or the topics that I have. But you put out a lot of good information. So you did answer one question I had. You talked about the Women in Dynamics luncheon, if it's open to everybody that's attending the
Yep.
conference, and that they're welcome to join either the expo lunch or the Women in Dynamics luncheon to learn a little bit more about that group and what they're doing for technology, women in technology, and hear some of the stories, which is great. And I'm happy to see that they're coming in and representing, because we do need to have, I think, a little bit more diversity in the group to have some different points of view, different angles, experiences to, continue help make the product grow, or the ecosystem now, I guess. But to go back to the conference, and we can talk more about that in a moment. I had some questions. What type of content should attendees expect? Like, which products offerings are in these sessions? Business Central, Power Platform. What type of sessions are available?
Yeah, I mean, all of the above. Really, what we're doing and delivering is anything that kind of integrates to Business Central, right? So you'll see Power Platform, you'll see some I know the sales is big this year, the integration to Business Central. So you'll see anything that, Microsoft's bringing a lot of content around the integrations and that kind of technical side of it. But then you'll also see the partner side of things of implementing these in the clients and in real life. So I think there's a wealth of knowledge. Like you'll have the technical content from Microsoft, and then you'll have the real life scenarios from probably the partners and some others in the industry. They're going to do,
That's
I think,
great. So the attendees, it's not just a technical conference; it's also a business-driven conference where business, they don't need to. It doesn't just need to be a technical attendee. It could be a sales attendee. It can be an operations attendee, where they'll be able to not only learn the technical enhancements or technical use of the application, but also the business practices as far as maybe sales and marketing to continue to build their business and onboard more customers, which
yeah.
I was just talking with Chris prior to us speaking, the onboarding experience, the ability to automate the onboarding is just blowing my mind. Just some of the things that I'm thinking about with what people would be able to do with apps to help customers, basically not have to talk to anybody to implement the application.
I don't know that that's necessarily true. That's why the partner community is so strong, though, because there are so many ideas and there's things that, the partner community brings to the table. They have that experience. They have not just the black or white. They have oh, well, you're trying to do this in your business. They have those business expertise and industry expertise to help customers navigate all of that's being thrown at them. Because you look at AppSource or you look at, any of these technologies today, there's so much out there that trying to navigate what's a good solution, what maybe isn't going to, add value to your business, or, it's just your funnel goes from here to here when you have that partner interaction in that background of here's your business processes and here are some things that probably would work to help you with that. So there's still a lot of that consulting and
No,
knowledge
there is a need. I say that sort of tongue in cheek when I said that you won't have to talk to a person, because I think, maybe if you have like a one user business and you just need to do some basic finance and, invoice and stuff. But I think if you're an organization that needs to understand the full depth of the application and the integrations, the experience, you can't.
You gotta
touch.
contain.
You can read on how to set things up, but I know, firsthand. Sometimes there's questions and ideas, and you can share some of the knowledge that you have, or bring someone in that has the knowledge of that similar type of business and say, well, hey, they tried to set up their bins and their zones and their warehouse this way and it didn't work well, so maybe you should try it this way. That's stuff
You have
that you
to
won't
contain
get
that
automated.
analysis paralysis. There's so much information that you
Yes.
sometimes like, I don't know where to begin, and that's where I think where we all come in and guide them through it. So
Yeah. Well, and
No,
like
it
you
is.
said, there are plenty of ways you can streamline, and I think that's just, there's things that partners do on a normal basis that they can streamline and they can help customers, because it just helps them get to market faster. It helps them get the ROI that they're looking for faster. But there's still always that second level that you can't replace. So, there are ways to streamline your business, and there's ways to make things repeatable, but then there's always the other 20%, right? Or
That was
60%.
well put, because you can in essence, simplify some of the basic stuff, which affords you the opportunity to spend more time, in my opinion, on some of the more complicated things
Yes.
or complex situations, or like you said, that level two stuff, so that they're not, I think from both the partner and the customer point of view, you're not stuck doing, okay, well, this is a chart of accounts. This is,
Yeah.
this is a customer card. I mean, some of that basic stuff you can get out of the way, but then the enhancements to that, you definitely need some partners. And also one thing I noticed, or at least what I'm seeing, and this, is it seems to be a big push that, the product is moving quickly. There's a lot of partner to partner interaction now, where, there's always been a partner channel, but I think more so now, I think there's a lot more collaboration, I think, going on as
You
well.
need
So I
to.
think these conferences, such as Directions, is a good place for partners, not only to speak with Microsoft and learn about the product offering, but also speak with other partners who may have specialties or experiences that they could use to assist them with some other implementations. Because
And just being able to focus. I mean, I know that in a digital world, you can get all of this remotely. You can get some of, well, not all of it, but you can get some of that remotely. You can research things online and you can read documentation, but there's just some things that just hit differently when you're in person and you actually have the ability to like carve out your whole day to
Hmm.
focus on the five top things you want to get done, right? That'll help you when you leave because that's why you do it, right? It people don't have to travel to conferences, but they do because that's still very important to be able to say, hey, I don't have the phone ringing, I don't have a whole bunch of urgent emails coming in that I have to answer, that I can sit here and focus on things that are going to better my customers and better my business. And it's getting most of my focus today, right? There's not, I mean, there always are things happening, but it does get you out of that immediate rush of being more accessible.
that is important. I was going to ask if emails stop for that week on the planet, but it is important, I think, for you to focus.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the content, as you had stated, you could read online. You can, have these virtual conferences, but having the interaction to focus and pay attention and attend the sessions. Usually, when I attend, I have overload because there's so many things that I want to see.
Yep.
And I know Chris and I have gone before, and we try to tag team because I want to see something and there's something going on at the same time, same thing as Chris, so we split up and take notes along with some other individuals as well too. So it's very important to focus and get that interaction. Is a huge benefit of that, and being able to ask questions and get experience is important. Another thing for both of you, and Kate, because we're talking with you, we'll have you go first, but what's Kate's survival guide for Directions? And Chris, you're lucky because we'll go with your survival guide. You got tips and tricks second.
Sounds good.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless you want to switch,
Oh,
Kate,
go,
we can put
Kate. Go
Chris on the hot
first.
seat.
Is
No, Kate,
you sure?
you go
Okay.
first.
Um,
So Kate's top, I'm just picking this up. Kate's top 10 survival tips and tricks for navigating Directions North America on April 16th, April 19th, 2023.
okay. I would say the first thing that I think people do not that underestimate a lot is get as much rest on the front end as you can. Like get as much done, but get as much rest on the front end because there are so, I mean, the amount of, like you said, the content that's thrown at you and the hours, it's just everybody wants to get as much value in that short period of time as possible. So you'll find yourself running to and from places. So yes, get as much rest and relaxation on the front end as you can. Um, Probably doesn't help you first maybe going to Disney beforehand, but I found that I leave more exhausted. As an ISV, we're constantly preparing, and I just leave so exhausted after these shows. Um, two, comfy.
Well, I think you're getting a double
I
whammy
am.
because you have the ISV and the partner board.
Yeah.
So you're working on, planning and working with setting up and, making the conference great. And you also have, what I call a day job that you're doing as well. So as we spoke about before, you have a great family to care for as well too. So
Yeah.
you have the trifecta of, I don't know how you do it, but, I have to talk with you when I see you about what you do to stay so energized.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great problem to have. So I while I leave exhausted, I would never complain because it is a great problem to have all these wonderful things happening.
Yeah.
So
No, I understand what you're saying. I leave overwhelmed and
yeah,
exhausted, and it's not, just like you said, it's, there's so much going on, and it's not even, in some essence, you could work out and do all this other stuff. But to me, it's like mentally exhausting as well because there's so much content coming and you're trying to organize it
yeah,
in your brain and run around to all the
yeah.
sessions. What's,
And I would say
now you,
probably 2 and 3, I would say comfy shoes and jackets because you never know where you're going to be. There are some rooms that are comfortable, and then there are some rooms that go freezing. I would say that's probably my 2 and 3 is shoes and a jacket because again, you don't want to be when you're in a room and you're just cold. It's very hard to focus.
I'm happy that they keep the rooms
Thank
cool, but
you.
you hit on the thing, like the shoes. That's what I tell everybody on any conference. Like everyone wants to dress nice and have all these nice things, but it's when you go to these conferences, you're walking.
Mhm.
And I think it was, one of the ones last year. It was so far, like it was almost like a mile. It felt like a mile just to get from the hotel and the conference was in the
Yeah.
hotel. And it felt like I was walking for miles to get there. And then this one's in the same place as last year. It's not as far, but you still do a lot of walking or going from, the food area, the expo hall, to the sessions upstairs, sessions downstairs, sessions down the hall.
Yeah, to
So
your room and all the above. It's not as bad as a conference center, but yeah, there's always a lot of walking when you do conferences for sure, especially when you get to this size. What am I going to say? 4, I would say definitely take some time to look at this agenda in advance because you will underestimate the how easy it is to get drawn into everything else going on. So make sure you prioritize your agenda, what you want to see, and be aware that you probably will have some times where there's sessions that you can't divide and conquer yourself. So if you're going with a group, have those conversations on the front end because there's typically so much content that you can't one person can't consume it all. So if you're going with a group, divide and conquer that content. Make sure you're taking notes and you're getting, what everybody's questions are on the front end so that you can make the most of being in person and getting that content because that is important. And I know I always double and triple book my sessions. And then I look at my calendar. I'm like, I can't do this. So I have to talk to somebody else in my organization. Say, hey, this would be really interesting to me. Would you mind going? Or are you going to go to this or should I go to that type of thing?
Hmm.
Um,
all right, we'll do one more and give you the top 5, and then we'll jump to Chris.
uh, I would also say that don't underestimate the networking aspect. Me personally, I also have to take 5 minutes. And this is kind of I'll say this is the networking is amazing. It's not just at the sessions. It's at breakfast. It's everywhere. It's sitting, waiting in line at Starbucks because we will basically have this entire hotel. And so everywhere you look will be an attendee for the most part, an attendee or a sponsor or whatever. So you will run into people that you wouldn't expect to see normally in a bigger conference. And so those conversations are invaluable. Have them. Don't be shy to have them. And then I'll say my bonus one is for me personally, I always have to learn that I need a decompression period before I start a day and before I end a day.
Yes.
With as much information as being thrown at me and as much as I appreciate it, I still have to have that time where my brain is still reeling
Hmm.
and I have to have
Mhm.
a good little bit of quiet time at night before I can go to bed. So, for me, I just can't go straight to bed. That's my big thing is my brain needs some time to process everything that's happened that day.
You hit on some key points, and the networking. I keep saying, I mean, to me, a conference gone wrong, and we spoke about it in an episode, several months ago, is getting up, going to the session, going back to your room, and that's being the end of it.
Yep.
I think the decompression is important, but the networking is extremely important. And it is important to not be bashful because everyone's there for the same thing. And going to some of these events, going out afterwards, sometimes people will meet at a bar for a drink, but you don't have to have a drink if you want to go. You can still talk. And everybody's, friendly and likes to share information about their experiences, also talk about their perspective of what's going on, with the product, what they've learned at the conference. So, you know, I can't, agree with you more in your number 5 on networking about, go and sit with somebody. If you're going with a group of people, it's great to sit with 5 people that you see every day, possibly, or talk with every day. But that doesn't help with the networking. It's if there's 5 of you going, split up and go to 5 separate tables and talk with other people, because you can meet other partners that you can bring into your network, or other individuals to bring into your network to help you.
Well,
So
it's also really nice, but you could be in the same room with somebody and you leave and you go have a conversation and you pick up with something that they picked up on that you didn't, or vice versa, because maybe they have some other context, or maybe they've done something. It's just amazing. You can sit in the same room with somebody and leave with so many different opinions about certain things. So going to have those conversations afterwards, it'll blow your mind. You could sit in the same room and still completely different opinions about certain things.
One of the funny things is, now in this social age where, there's LinkedIn, there's Twitter, there's, Yammer, there's all these groups where everybody talks and communicates. I find it fascinating for those that I haven't met in person or talked to. I always try to hunt them down, and then you get to meet them in person and get that experience. But you hit some key points with that. When you're in the sessions, it's tough to talk and network. So hitting, I don't drink Starbucks, but maybe I'll go stand in line.
I mean, sitting at a table that you don't know anybody. I mean, you will leave with 5 new friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
One of the things that would always surprise me the most, because I've never met I'm not, when you leave this event, you never meet strangers. Like you'll remember each other, you'll talk, you'll be able to reach out to them even afterwards. You have that comfort level to do that. And I will say, and I probably shouldn't say, I don't think I've met anybody that has been mean, or, everybody's so willing to help that even if I was shy about asking something, it's, when you talk to them for 5 minutes, you can do it, right? It's, I don't know, the genuine people in this industry about wanting to better yourself and better your career and better your business, even if they somewhat compete with you, it's astounding to me. It really is.
No, it is a great community. Okay, so thank you for your top 5 and 1 bonus
Thought I went
survivor
first,
guide.
Christopher.
Yeah, you've had plenty of time to think.
I did. I was thinking.
So I don't want to hear that you're going to tell us about rest, shoes, jackets, plan your agenda, go with networking, and then make sure you decompress. Okay, so you've had plenty of opportunity to go, and I have a couple that I'll jot down. Maybe.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from you too, Brad. The first for me, it's every directions to me is it's going to be an educational trip, right? Like if you summit, it's more like, hey, I'm going to sell something. Or plan to sell products and services, or at least get to know your customers, is really setting up my agenda, because there's a lot of sessions, 160 plus. You're gonna try to figure out, okay, how can I get there? And usually I try to plan and look at the layout of the place, figure out, okay, if this is here, can I make it, or should I, or whatever, and then coordinate with Brad or any of the colleagues you're going with. And so agenda is usually the first thing I put together, because the idea of directions being educational, that's the first thing. I have to know my agenda for that day.
I'm not going to heckle you because that was Kate's number 4, just to let you know.
In the case, yeah. Agenda's important. Number 2, man, see, some of the things that Kate already mentioned are very similar to what I have. I know I got plenty of time to think about that. But usually the second is making sure I have proper shoes. The first time I went to directions, I dressed to the nines. I had like dress shoes, all that. It's like, man, I got to dress, I have to have nice shoes. And all of a sudden, like, this is the wrong shoe. My feet hurts by this, not even the first day. So I struggle with that. So ever since I've been going to directions, I have to have good shoe, whether new shoes, like, because like when you buy new shoes, you can only technically use it for 500 steps or some weird number. Not 500 steps, 500 miles, some crazy number.
500 steps seems a little short.
Yeah, 500 miles.
Well, running shoes are usually geared for 300 to 500
Yeah, 300 to 500 miles.
But wearing new shoes is tough because, in my opinion, you might want to break them in so you know what they're like when you're walking around for a full day, because they could be sore.
A little trick from the sponsor side, you have to alternate your shoes. So at least for me, I don't know if anybody else is actually going to find this helpful, so I apologize if they're not. But I have to alternate my shoes.
I assure you, anything you say somebody will find helpful. I'm just saying it's somebody there's 8 billion people in the world, not this, and we have 8 billion and one listening. So at least one person will get something.
I mean, seriously,
I guarantee.
You know, like you know where your shoes rub, and if you wear, you just have to wear 2 different types. Like if I know if it's going to rub in the front, I'll wear that one day, and then I'll wear something that rubs in the back the next day. I mean, because there's still a level of comfort. You just can't. You can try for comfort, but it's still after 8 hours, 9 hours on your feet, it's still all relative.
You hit the nail on the head. I bring multiple shoes to that. And I just want to throw into you as Chris, we'll give you time to think of other ones that may be repeats. But along with the shoes, Kate, you mentioned the jacket for temperature control. Comfortable clothing goes along with the shoes, because you're sitting and moving in these sessions. You want to make sure that it's comfortable and I'll call it flexible and breathable, so that you're not sitting uncomfortably in these sessions, because they can be lengthy days, or they feel like lengthy days. Not that it's bad; it's a great experience, but I found that a little casual goes a long way.
Yeah,
right?
No,
Chris, number 3.
No, that's perfect. Light jacket, right? You don't have to have a thick jacket, just long sleeve, light jacket that you can stuff in your bag.
Okay, that was Kate's number 3, Chris.
I know.
Chris, we said don't do anything that Kate said, and so far you're 3 for 3.
This is all survivability for directions, but this is perfect. I mean, if it's your first time going to directions, this is really, really important, because I made a mistake the first time I went. And so, then I guess number 4, a good way to take notes, right? I've seen a lot of people just open up their day-to-day laptop, and it's like massive, and sometimes there's no table, and you have to lay it on your lap, and you got to put it away, put it back in your bag, and try to make it up to the next. So if you have a tablet or a good phone where you can take good notes, take screenshots, do so. And make it easy, quick and fast, rather than a laptop. I tried to do laptop, but your battery dies by the 4th hour, and you still have 5-6 hours to go, and so that's important. And
no, it is important to be able to.
Go ahead.
Always, it's just wouldn't be a conversation if I didn't. But it is important to be able to have categorization of the notes. And like you had said, bring something that's easy to use, something you can categorize and go back. I found that taking pictures sometimes and then writing on the pictures in my phone is helpful. But Kate, we spoke last time. Are any of the sessions going to be recorded? And will the presentations be available if there's any PowerPoint presentation? So if someone's taking notes, can they plan on either seeing it again or having the ability to download the presenter's slide deck?
So they will not be recorded. And
okay.
So that's not happening this year. In maybe future years. It's always a request we have, but we'll see. There's just so much to do with being in person and the logistics behind that and the cost involved. But it is something that people bring up frequently, or every year. The presentations we do. Make anybody who's a speaker that wants to make their presentations available, we will ask for their speaker deck and we will make those available. We'll even sometimes have a thumb drive up at while they're on site, and they can just load it there so that it makes it as easy as possible for them. With that being said, don't guarantee that all of them will be made available, because there will be some speakers that just either forget or decide, hey, I don't want to make it available on demand. So don't necessarily rely on those. If they are up there and they have uploaded them, you should be able to download them. Again, and if we don't have them in advance, doesn't mean we won't have them. But, we usually end up with some holes of sessions where people are like, hey, I was waiting for that, and we just can't guarantee that the speaker is going to give it to us, or, anything we get, we will make available to the team.
Okay. So anything you get will be made available. And a side note to that, I've been in sessions where on some technical sessions where the presenter in the session offered to, like you had said, download or email the information to guests, or excuse me, to attendees to their session. So if you want some information, don't be afraid to ask. In my opinion, when you ask a question, it's not necessarily what you ask, it's how you handle the answer. So if you ask somebody something and they say no, and you just let it go, you don't know unless you ask. So if you want something from the presenter, or if they can offer something, the worst they're going to say is no. And in some cases, I've been to sessions, they've been more than helpful, where they've, put together presentations that demonstrated, code, for example, and they had given in the session to people who were there. They emailed them to everybody in the session that stuck around, waited around after. I don't know how to say that. I forget how to speak English sometimes. To email it to them. So that is a course too. Okay,
sometimes,
Chris.
if it's a code or something like that, that doesn't necessarily translate to a PowerPoint, so they might not make that available, right? But if you ask,
Yes.
And if there are sessions that you are concerned about them, not that just hey, we would really like to make sure you have this PowerPoint available. Just make sure either give it to me or. So yeah, anything that we are given and anything that we are asked about, we will ask about it, but we can't always guarantee.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, Chris. Number 5. Let me guess. Networking.
No, not quite, because some people, they want to be there for educational purposes. But just to finish on that note, even if you get a notepad, right? Because the idea is for you to learn from industry experts, and so for you to come back and apply that to your business. If you didn't take good notes, it's going to be very difficult for you to kind of compile all that information you just learned. So take good notes.
Well, as you said, there's a lot of overload there. So don't expect you're
Yes.
going to remember what that screenshot meant
Yes.
at that point in time. Like, just err on the side that you will not remember exactly what you were thinking when you took that screenshot or that picture, and make sure you jot a little note down.
Yep. Take pictures. It's okay. I've seen people with a big old tablet taking a picture with their tablet. So number 5 is going to be plenty of liquid. And because you're walking around so much in different sessions, good things that conference have, water stations. And so you just have to make sure you take in a lot of liquid, because guess what? In some of these conferences, there's going to be parties. And so you want to make sure you're hydrated, right? So that's important, because, you got to stay hydrated. You're walking so much.
That was on my list, Chris, by the way. I was going to say,
good.
I'm glad that you said it, because I was going to say that some people underestimate the importance of drinking. And I'm not talking drinking alcohol. Stay hydrated. One thing that I found, just like when I traveled in the airplanes, and excuse me, just banging the microphone. You got to edit that out, Chris. I say this all the time. You got to make us look good. Is to take a bottle. I take the water stations usually have cups. Sometimes there's bottles of water. I know a lot of places don't have a lot of bottles of water because it's costly, and also, doesn't do a lot for the plastics. But taking a reusable water bottle and filling up my water, I found at all these conferences extremely helpful, because it is important to stay hydrated, not only because you may go out in the evening, and if you want to indulge, so be it. But we'll be in Orlando, different climate for a lot of people. It will be hot. That's what you don't, you sweat a lot more than you may realize. So it's important to stay hydrated. It also helps you stay alert and attentive to a lot of these sessions, along with the cold weather. So my tip with that is to bring a bottle.
Yeah, I bring one every time I travel.
There you go.
Because a lot of the airports now have the filtered water by the water fountains.
I love that.
We call them bubblers up here, but I've learned to say water fountain to the people. Have you guys ever heard the term bubbler?
No. It's a northeastern thing?
It's a northeastern term. Yeah, you can Google it. It's a bubbler. That's what they call those things. It's a bubbler, but you outside of the northeast would call water fountains. I think, right?
Water dispensers.
You press the button and the water comes up.
I was gonna say, are they even called water fountains anymore? If you don't have to press the thing and it just dispense it, to me, it's more like a dispenser now. It's like a water dispenser.
Yeah, water dispenser.
Okay, Chris, do you have a bonus?
Do I have a bonus? I don't think so. I think a lot of the things that Kate mentioned are very important. The networking piece. After you go through all the educational, all that stuff, get to meet your friends, people that you've been interacting on LinkedIn, like what you were saying, Brad, earlier, is that you've never met them in person until you meet them in person. It's like, wow, this is a different conversation. It's not just behind a keyboard or whatnot. So, but networking's a big part of that, because I think everybody is in the same journey as you, or at least somebody is in the same journey as you build your business, and plan what your year is going to look like, or the following year, and you're strategizing. It's good to meet somebody that are the same journey as you, and you can ping ideas, get to meet, continue that conversation outside of directions, connect through LinkedIn or some social media connection. But yeah, I think that's my bonus, is that's a big component.
All right. Perfect. That's perfect. Okay. So it's directionsna.com for the Microsoft Dynamics 365 conference, which is, what is it? Driven by partners for partners. Those Microsoft Dynamics 365 partners should attend, ISVs should attend. Anyone else looking towards, or any partners looking to learn other areas such as Power Platform, Business Central, depending on what you work on. And we have the, what I will call the top 11 tips that were presented by both Kate and Chris. We have Get Plenty of Rest, which, well, I can't even say the top 11 because Chris, I think, copied 4 of Kate's.
Or I'm surprised you didn't say anything about the luggage, because you could leave with, like, I mean, you talk about giveaways and all this other stuff as partners. Like, I've seen people leave with like a separate suitcase full of stuff.
So we'll add that onto the list. So we have Get Plenty of Rest, wear comfortable shoes and clothing, bring a light jacket that you can easily put on and take off because each room has varying temperature. Plan your agenda properly before you go, so you know where you want to go, the sessions that you want to see. Even if they have overlapping sessions, you can then make the decision at that time which one you want to go with. Do all you can to network. Sit down at a table with someone you don't know, introduce yourself to somebody. Guarantees somebody will do that to you, because anytime I go to a conference, I've gone up to people and I've had people come up to me, but it's good to meet new people. And always make sure you have a decompression plan to unwind and be able to absorb what you're learning and what you've been doing. And also, hydration, water is extremely important. And then Kate's second bonus is bring luggage for all that swag you may pick up. I've stopped taking swag. I only take useful things now, like something that I know I will use. I've had so many stress balls in my life and all those other things that.
Hey, if you forget water bottle, someone will have one. If you forgot notebook to take notes, you'll find somebody to give what you need.
See, that's swag like that is good to have, like a water bottle at a conference. Yes. Because people can fill them up and use them. And then you can put your logo or whatever you want on there to advertise, which is great. So, all right. So we have a number of sessions. It's geared towards partners. Kate, Chris, thank you again for taking the time to speak with us. Anything else that you would like to add, Kate, on how somebody could get in contact with you, learn more about the conference other than directionsna.com? I've said
or Kate at lanhamassociates.com, and hopefully we'll see everybody in a couple of weeks, so you don't have to find me. You can just come see me in person and say hi.
I'm looking forward to seeing you in person. Chris, I don't know about seeing you.
Yeah, you could ask everybody. It's like, where can I find Kate? Kate, where is she?
Oh yeah, that I guess would be one thing. If you do have any problems or you do need anything, obviously the registration desk will be there, but usually the board members have a different color lanyard. And you all know our names and stuff, but we have a different color lanyard. So if people need anything, you can come find us. If you don't.
Who is on the board this year? I know the names, but just if you could tell everybody.
Yeah, so they're also on the website just in case anybody doesn't catch anything. But there's Tom Faltek from Clients First is our president this year. Catherine Turner-Lawrence from Western Computer. We have John Rivers and Diane Sager from Marketeeri, and they also have a couple other marketing organizations. Amy Homan and myself and Scott Brennan from Sikich.
Oh, nice. So those are the board members that have a different colored lanyard. You can go up to anybody, ask them questions. The website has a lot of information. Kate, I also see on the pre-conference a list of events. Lanham's having an event that's listed on the website. Stratus Cloud Partners is also doing it as well. So if somebody gets in earlier than the event, this is where I think maybe the 15th, the travel, or the pre-day.
Yeah, I'm traveling in the 14th, so yeah. So many people, and Chris is going in even earlier, but he's going to go to Disney.
Yeah, but I'll see.
Chris, when you go to Disney, get me a dark saber.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to hit every single Disney World places as much.
All the parks.
Yeah, multiple parks.
Oh, he'll be overwhelmed before he even gets. See, Kate's advice is to get plenty of rest and be ready. And you just coming in hot.
I mean, I get it. It's nice when you can travel somewhere to take advantage of it, and to do it on the front end is probably the best, because afterwards you're just
you don't want to walk. I'm done walking.
Yeah.
I was thinking of doing it on the tail end, and then when nobody else is there, just enjoy
the wind down.
Nothing.
The wind down.
Yeah, the wind down. But there is something to be said for sleeping in your own bed too. So after being away for a few days, getting back is important.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you both again for taking the time to speak with us, each other. That's good. And I look forward to seeing you both, all of us, in person in a couple weeks.
Same.
Thank you again.
Sounds great.
All right.
Yeah.
Ciao, ciao.
Thanks, Kate.
Thank you, Chris, for your time for another episode of In the Dynamics Corner Chair. And thank you to our guests for participating.
Thank you, Brad, for your time. It is a wonderful episode of Dynamics Corner Chair. I would also like to thank our guests for joining us. Thank you for all of our listeners tuning in as well. You can find Brad at developerlife.com. That is DVLPRLIFE.com. And you can interact with them via Twitter, DVLPRLIFE. You can also find me at matalino.io, MATALINO.io. And my Twitter handle is matalino16. And you can see those links down below in the show notes. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, and take care. We're going to have a recap.
No, we're coming back to this. See, we ended this. This is like a bloop take 2. So, Kate, let's go.
And we record. We're going to record at directions too, or at least we're going to try.
That's what I was going to say. I want to. One, Kate, just say what you had just said to us that made us come back. This is just like an encore, when you're at a concert.
Thought we were done. No, I was saying we're going to have a directions recap, and I don't know if people were really able to see as much of the fun we had on the front end, but we were sharing some dad jokes, and so I said we're going to have some partner or.
I was recording, Kate. Afterwards. I was recording.
Yes, but I don't know if it'll make your final cut.
Oh. I'm sure. I'm sure that it'll find its way in there somewhere.
This would be like an Easter egg.
The B-roll afterwards.
So yes, let's do that. We'll have some jokes. We have to do a recap. I was going to say during the networking, I was going to challenge you or anybody else to come back with 5 people that you met that you did not know before.
Ooh.
So to come back with a list of those 5 people. And as Chris stated, I would enjoy being able to do little snippets in recording because while we're there to speak with everybody. And we'll just say that, we'll do a podcast recap with Kate.
Podcast recap with Kate.
See, look at that.
He's not tired of us by then.
If they are, this is something that you could leave for your children to listen to when they're older, and they'll say, I can't believe my mother did that.
Yeah.
But okay.
Or you can do you can do 5 tips after the conference.
I still challenge you to do the 5 people. You don't have to do it, but
we could share the best things we learned at the conference because.
There you go.
See, I have to write this down so I don't forget. Okay, so we will have to schedule you. I think we'll have to schedule you now for this, and we can schedule a few others. Give everybody plenty of time because. It's everybody has different schedules, but we can do the top 5 things that you've learned at Directions, and we will have Chris go first.
Oh, okay.
Because he doesn't have to copy. And
it's going to be easy. I like to go away second.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if I have to ask you anymore. I'll just ask Kate to go twice. All right. This is it. It's time to go.
This is it.
All right. Thank you again,
Thank you,
Kate.
guys.
This
Thank
time we're going to really leave.
All right. Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
You can believe.